Welcome back to The Explainer. Listen, I am so incredibly excited you're here today because we have some absolutely fascinating material to break down. If you've been following the news this May 2026, you already know that a highly anticipated, completely unprecedented government disclosure has just hit the public domain. Today, we're going to objectively cut through all the noise. We're looking strictly at the newly declassified records, and we're unpacking exactly what the government has officially released. No wild speculation, just the facts exactly as they're presented in the files. And to really grasp the scale of this release, just look at this number right here, 170. That represents the massive cache of previously classified files, photographs, transcripts, and videos that literally just dropped on the public. We are talking about decades of highly guarded information suddenly unsealed for anyone with an internet connection to see. It's a real game changer. Okay, let's dive into this. To digest this massive release logically, we're going to break this explainer down into 5 parts. 1. The Pursue data dump. 2. Anomalies in space. 3. FBI memos and wreckage. 4. Modern sensor encounters. And finally, 5. The push for transparency. Starting us off with part 1, the Pursue data dump. So these records come directly from the PURSU program. That stands for the Presidential Unsealing and Reporting System for UAP Encounters. And what's really interesting about this slide is just the sheer scope of taxpayer-funded records we're looking at on the war.gov/UFO platform. It's mind-boggling. We have roughly 170 files spanning all the way from 1947 to September 2025. And right there, smack in the middle, is an astonishing detail. Official reports of 4-foot-tall crewmen. Following this chronological flow is absolutely vital to get the big picture. These recorded encounters span an unbroken line of almost 8 decades of modern history. We go from post-World War II flying disc reports in 1947, through those 1966 FBI memos, right into the Apollo lunar missions, all the way up to modern infrared captures in 2025. Moving on to Section 2, Anomalies in Space. Now, take the 1969 Apollo 12 mission, for instance. The Pursue disclosure actually unsealed a specific photograph captured directly from the lunar surface. The official description clearly notes that the image shows unidentified phenomena appearing as bright, anomalous lights. Think about that for a second. This physical evidence grounds these incredibly bizarre phenomena right into the highly credible bureaucratic reality of NASA's recorded mission data. And then, 3 years later during Apollo 17, it happened again. Just look at this quote from the unsealed transcripts. Astronaut Ronald Evans reports over the radio, "Now we've got a few very bright particles or fragments or something that go drifting by as we maneuver." What makes this encounter feel so incredibly real and almost personal is Mission Control's recorded response. They simply acknowledged the objects, casually noting they looked like the 4th of July right outside the spacecraft window. All right, let's bring it back to Earth for part 3, FBI memos and wreckage. Now, this is easily one of the most startling revelations in the entire dossier. We have a 1966 FBI memo objectively detailing accounts from multiple credible witnesses, specifically police officers and military personnel. They reported observing crewmen near a landed craft. And these beings are explicitly described in the official government document as being 3.5 to 4 feet tall, wearing what appear to be spacesuits and helmets. Remember, these aren't science fiction scripts, right? They are official intelligence memos documenting credible eyewitness accounts from trained professional observers. Those same mid-century intelligence files also categorize the unidentified craft into 3 distinct, bizarre specifications. First, you have Zeppelin-shaped craft, described as being massive, up to 300 feet long. Then you've got disc-shaped objects ranging from 3 feet to 100 feet in diameter. And finally, egg-shaped craft, which the documents actually note were capable of remaining entirely motionless in the air before suddenly accelerating at fantastic speeds. And guys, it wasn't just sightings. The files explicitly mention physical evidence. Specific documents detail the recovery of actual wreckage. This material consisted of magnesium alloys and an exceptionally hard unknown metal. But look at the level of detail here. The files state this metal contained 15-micron metal spheres. That microscopic precision highlights exactly how rigorously these recovered materials were being analyzed by the intelligence community decades ago. Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds modern sensor encounters. And this brilliantly illustrates the evolution here. We've evolved drastically from how we used to track this. We're moving from those mid-century eyewitnesses, like police reporting sightings, to modern sensor arrays that rely on high-tech infrared optics. These arrays are tracking targets executing impossible 90-degree turns at 80 miles per hour. It's the shift from human interpretation directly to objective, hard mechanical measurement. So what exactly are these modern sensors capturing? Well, the Pursuit files detail some incredibly bizarre targets. In 2023, 3 separate teams of federal agents reported large orange orbs in the sky that appeared to actually launch smaller red orbs. Even more baffling is footage of an 8-pointed, glowing star-shaped structure. Military analysts reviewing the footage specifically noted that this object completely defied known aerodynamic laws and actually appeared to move like a living organism. But the scientific baffle absolutely does not stop at aerodynamics. The files describe a specific instance of infrared evasion. A military sensor system successfully tracked an object making those impossible 90-degree turns at 80 miles per hour. But then, the system lost its lock. And it didn't lose the lock because the object sped away. No, according to the data, the object remained entirely stationary, but became completely invisible to infrared optics. The physics of how a physical object simply vanishes from the infrared spectrum while hovering in place is currently totally beyond our technological understanding. Which brings us to our 5th and final section, the push for transparency. So why are taxpayers finally seeing this? Well, the administration framed this massive release as a move toward unprecedented transparency. President Donald Trump's stated rationale for this release was delivered with this exact public statement: "What the hell is going on?" The stated intent here is to release the hidden files directly to the public so that people can review the data and decide for themselves. This universal goal of transparency is also echoed by other top officials involved in the QRS program. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth officially confirmed that these files were previously hidden behind high classifications, stating the public has a fundamental right to see them. Furthermore, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard noted that this 170 file release is not just a one-off event. She actually called it the first step in what will be an ongoing joint declassification effort, so we can definitely expect more. So the crucial point is exactly how we interpret this avalanche of new data. Sean Kirkpatrick, the former head of AARO, that's the Pentagon's UFO office, provides a really vital scientific caveat that we absolutely must remember. These files confirm the government has tracked these phenomena for decades, for sure. However, the term unidentified means exactly that: data unexplained by current technology. It does not automatically mean alien. We have to follow the data without jumping to immediate conclusions. Which leaves us right here. We now have the physical records. We have the sensor data. We have the astronaut testimony and the intelligence memos. The curtain of classification has been pulled back. We have the data. But what is the answer? The Pursuit disclosure proves the mystery is real and thoroughly documented, but the ultimate origin of these phenomena remains entirely unknown. Keep analyzing the facts, keep an open mind, and most importantly, keep questioning the world around you. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.